Hello and welcome back to module number 12. In this module, we are going to talk about GUI programming, and I'll start the conversation about what is GUI interface and what are we actually building. So the idea of a GUI is a form of user interface. Example, when you look at Microsoft Office, the GUI or the interface of Microsoft Office is look the same in all application, from PowerPoint to Excel to Words or any other. So the idea here is that it will give you the indication how to navigate and the ability to enhance your experience with the application. Example, even Amazon has a GUI that they use in order for them to enhance your experience while shopping. We will look at that in different aspects. We're going to talk about Python and GUI, and we're going to learn about one particular application that is very popular, and I want you to have experience with that with regard to understanding the idea of GUI programming. So in this module, we are going to begin by looking how to create the GUI in Python, and then we are going to build a console based on web application. So if you want to create a user-friendly standalone application, you really must create a nice interface that will go along. So in this example, again, I follow students' request to focus on game. So I'll try to, through my slide, trying to incorporate the idea of a game, and this time I call it peg game, and be able to show you what it is entail. But before we will start, there are a huge number of modules available to create those interfaces. Some of them, Ticker has a website that is not really friendly, but that's what they have, and I will post it on Canvas so you will have the idea what it is. And it is not well documented. One of the default of that is that it's been created a long time ago, and it's been never been updated. The second application or module is the PYQT, which we are going to discuss, and we are going to learn about that. This is one of the most popular application which help you to create a framework to your work, and we will focus on that. WX Python is also, it's a wrapper around widgets and library, which also can be good. I'm not familiar with that, and some of you probably want to learn more. This is a good, I will provide a link so you will be able to learn more about that. So this is the idea. But what I try to do here, I try to give you a summary of how I see, this is my choice, it's not anyone's choice, why I chose the PYQT as a good resource for us to learn about GUI programming in Python. First, it has a very good documentation. It has, I wrote beautiful, but it has a strong foundation application, but like any other application out there, it has some good and bad, but for me, it was the easiest way to get the job done, and that's what I was intended. So again, this is my choice. If you want to choose something else, you are most welcome. I accept that. But this was my choice, and I think it will be easier for you to learn. So we will first discuss the mechanics of the PYQT, and afterward we will spend time learning about it, and we will build application together, and get familiar with the common parts of this type of application. As a note, we are using PYQT5 in this lecture, and my recommendation that you will install that instead of the PYQT4, because it has a lot of difficulties and it sometimes does not come up well. So my recommendation to you is to use the 5. Here we go. So let's start. The idea of downloading, and I'll post it on also in Canvas. You're going to run it as you already encounter or experience application in Python. You're going to do gun unzip, and you're going to run it and configure p and make the installation. And the idea here is that you get some coffee, because the make will take some time, and I highly recommend as a coffee drinker to take it because it will take some time. You're going to open up, as a result, you're going to open up interpreter, which means another window, another set of window or application that to make sure everything is working. So let's talk about the programming aspect. So it is a multi-platform and it is a toolkit. I did not talk about what is a toolkit. A toolkit is the additional element that allowed us to build based on Python. So the toolkits in this case is the idea that we are running together with Python a toolkit that allowed us to build in. And under PYQT, there's two common toolkits that help us to do that. The Qt Cure and the Qt GUI are the most common ones. The Cure contain core classes that includes event loop and signal and lot mechanism, and it includes platform of independent abstraction of animation, state mechanics, and share memories, and so on, and user and application settings, which is really important. And I will talk about that in the next few slides. The GUI contain classes for Windows system integration, event of 2D graphics based on imaging, font, and text. And the last one is the widgets, which contain classes that provide a set of UI elements. UI, it means user interface elements to create a classic desktop application based on that idea. So beside those, there are other modes such as Qt Network and Qt OpenGL that focus on specific functionality. And again, depending what you think about your final project in the class, you can apply that or try to see what it is entail. I will not cover all this aspect or all the aspect out there for Python or the PYQT because it's too much. There is too much going on, and I want you to explore. Send me an email if you have any question. I will be able to direct you to the right resource if you have a specific question you want to address. So what is the difference between GUI programming involves the use of toolkit versus GUI development using a patterns of programming design specific by a toolkit? As you becoming a developer, you should be very familiar with the AIPI. And so the design rules, at least the toolkit, probably one of the multi-platform that has the sense of what it is entail, and I would like you to experience it firsthand. Before next class or next module, I will talk more about that and what it is entail. So the GUI programming means object-oriented programming, which means basically event-driven framework. So your job, in a sense, is to develop GUI interface that respond to events. For instance, when you click your mouse on a certain icon or a specific image, the program should do X. When the user click on either the text field or the programming should be doing Y. So we have multiple things going on that we need to embed the GUI in order for us to provide the user more ability to interact with your system that you are building. You are defining, in this case, you are defining the program as a response to external events. So let's start with the basic. The idea here is that from PQ, PYQT, we are going to import the QT widgets. And in this case, we are going to apply the widgets. And if you are familiar with all the blogs, they're usually called the widgets part of the system. And so basically it is the underline of the system, and we're going to apply those widgets in order for us to do that. So the Q application class manages the application control flow and maintains settings, which means that it controls the main event loop through which all events are scheduled or handled. And no matter how many windows there are only one Q application instance. So in this case, this is the instance. The widget is basically the control element which is visible and can be manipulated by the user. So those include elements such as text fields, radio, or forms, or anything that is connected. If you are going to create a widget by using Q widgets instance without a permanent widget, it will automatically becomes a window. So the Q widgets implements a variety of methods that allowed us to develop or create the classes. Those include resize, move, or set a Windows title, or among other things. And that widgets are the children are creating memory and made visible to show methods. So in this case, I will show you the idea of if main. I will open up app and the widgets application and the main window, and it will show something like this. So basically, I created that. I want to remind everything. This is based on the application, but when you want to implement that into a website, you need to set up a Python website server, run it, and make sure that everything embedded into it. This is a footnote, but this is part of the development. Back to our class and back to our subject. And rather than a procedural approach, we took therefore to try to define our interface as an object or object-oriented manner. So in this case, I am employing the WT widgets, and I'm going to say class and page game window, and I can see what it is. So the W widget is the idea that allowed us to open windows, ability to apply basic elements, design elements into it, and some inherit and extended. So we can have Q progress bar, we can have Q push button, we can have Q checkbox, scroll bar, and many more. I gave you a link to many more. So the Q widgets is a class that also defines basic functionality common to all widgets, and in this case it will be idea of what I was talking: the resize, set parent, set tooltips, set platter. All those elements are part of the settings and are also include a list of extensive lists that can allow you to develop or think about in that case. So the class peg game window, I define the size of it, I define the geometry, I define the title of it, and I define set tools, play a triangle game. And in the end, I said set.show. And I also embedded one of the things that I would like to start seeing in your code is the if condition. If name and main, I will show the page and execute that. So let's make the idea of basic bottom that actually works. So the class is start new game, and I will define it, and the idea is self move and 20 by 160, and I will get another bottom is that quit, and I will show you this is what it will entail: start and quit, and it will be more interactive when the users see it. So the idea here is that by applying it, you are able to show or to allow the user to have more interaction with the system. Alternatively, you can apply the idea of play the triangle game, start a new game, quit, and self-show in order for you to apply that in one set of rules in order for you to do that. So in this case, I define quite a lot in compared to the previous, so I define it a little bit more independent. So those are the things that is really important. Signal and slot is another thing that is really important. We are making specification to the action that that should be taken when the event happens. So the idea here is that the signal is embedded on a particular event occurs. So the widgets already have many predefined signals, so you can create a customized signal on a subclass widget. So in this case, some common signals in push the icon is push click or push press or push release, and that's go on in any JavaScript that we are able to do. The example buttons we created early can be clicked, but nothing will happen. So the idea here is that we need to have a signal, a slot to the signal. So the slot is a function that is called to respond to a particular event. So the widgets may have predefined slot, but because the slot can be any codable, we can easily define our own slot to define our own reaction to the signal. So let's try to make a quit icon and exit the application. So the slot in this case be assigned as wwidgets.qapp.quit, and that will close it in that sense. So note that QApp is the Q application instance running our programs. So in this case, again, clicking quit on our case will close the window that we created. We can also create free to define behavior of the application by overriding built-in method. For example, we can call close event, which is called automatically with the instance of a window close request. By default, we can accept the request and close the window. However, we will override the function if we we are sure. So you want to quit? Are you sure about that? And that's something that to do. Now back to our main topic and the GUI interface. One of the things that is allowed us to do is the Qt widgets and the Q main window provide us the ability to have main application window. And the main application, the Q main window has the layout as opposed to the Q widget interface. So the Q main window automatically makes for the Q toolbar, the Q dock widgets, the Q menu bar, the Q status bar, and any widget can occupy the central widget. So those are the things that we are looking for in order for us to do that. So here is the code in order for us to add the menu bar with a file. So we can add a file to it in order for us to apply and to have the ability for the user to quit our application. And when the action is taken, the application will react. We also can refer to the menu bar as our main windows by calling the menu bar in that sense. So we will also create and return empty menu bar if there is none. So then we can add a new menu to the text file and by applying that. So do you want to, in this example, do you want a menu bar? And if we will click on it, we will see the triangular file and we will see what it is. So again, false and file in order for us to do that. That's it for now. I know it's all over the place, but I want you to start practicing. I will not give you an assignment because of the virus and everything else. The only thing that I would like to ask is that you will write a blog on this experience, what you have learned, and I will not give you grades on it. I want just a description on your experience with the GUI and understanding of it. Try to apply those codes, try to understand that. The assignment for this module is without any grade, just practice and see if it makes sense. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it makes more sense running it. And if you have problem running the PigWQT, please let me know. I have a lot of resources on the subject and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're good. Please be safe. Until next time, have fun.